I was born in Tipperary, Ireland in the year 1816. Tipperary, Ireland was a horrible place to be from. The English ran a tight ship. They used to say the English were rotten, and the priests were rotten, and the gangs were rotten, and even the bloody potatoes went rotten. So my wife Judith and my oldest son James decided to come to Upper Canada. We heard there was cheap land, 12 shillings an acre available. We settled on the Roman line, lot 18, concession 6. I had no intentions of paying any shillings per acre. Everything went well for 12 or 13 years. I farmed hard, I worked hard, I said my prayers every night, went to mass whenever I could get there. Maybe could have spent a little bit more time in the confession. One night in 1856, a wee knock came at me door. And I went to the door and there was a clumsy, callow-looking Irish boy standing on my porch. He says to me, "Is ye James Donnelly?" And I said, "What's it to you, boy?" He said, "Well, if you are James Donnelly, you're squatting on this land because I bought it from Mr. Marr, and Mr. Marr bought it from Mr. Grace, and Mr. Grace bought it from the Canada Company for 12 shillings an acre. So Mr. Donnelly, sure, you're gonna have to vacate because you're squatting on me land." "Och boy," I said, "there's only one person leaving, it'll be you," and the toe in me boot. He said, "I'll leave, but I'll be back with the law," and he was, and we went to court. And the judge had the wisdom of Solomon. He said, "Oh, Mr. Donnelly, you've made major improvements lo these 15 years. I am gonna give you clear and deeded title to the front 50 acres. Patrick," he said, "Patrick Farrell," he said, "I am going to give you legal title to the south." Well, needless to say, nobody was happy. I lost half my farm, and Farrell didn't get half of his. That was the beginning of the enmity. Not long after, we were at Maloney's logging bee. We cursed at each other. We ended up in a fight, took him out to the potato patch and boxed his ears and gave him a fat lip. The boys broke it up, and he said to me, "It's not over yet, Donnelly." So he came at me later, after he'd been drinking copiously from the whiskey jug, and I might have had one or two myself. He took a swing at me with his handspike. The boy slipped. He was a clumsy bit of an Irish boy, and he was into his cups. When he slipped and went down on one knee, I hit him as hard as I could, right over the left temple. With me handspike, he was dead before he hit the ground. All the boys came running, and they said, "Donnelly, you've done it now, you've killed him." And I said under me breath, but audibly, I should have done it 2 years ago, and I might not have lost me farm. And I had a good lawyer because we had some money, and my lawyer argued, "Oh, Mr. Donnelly didn't really mean to kill the boy, it was self-defense." And he also argued diminished judgment because Mr. Donnelly had had a few drinks. Well, my neighbors were there and they testified against me. They said Donnelly was only there looking for trouble. And he had threatened to kill the boy before. The judge paused about 40 seconds and he reached into his robes and he pulled out a black kerchief and he put it on his head. And he stared me in the eye and he said, "Mr. Donnelly, sir, in the matter of the death of Patrick Farrell, I find you guilty of first-degree murder. And I am sentencing you to hang by the neck until he is dead, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul." So on September the 17th, I was to be hanged on the north wall of the Goderich jail.